Welcome back to Bike Shop Basics. I'm Veronica.
And I'm Owen.
Bike Shop Basics is a video series aiming to make you more confident when stepping into your local bike shop. Today, we're talking about what to do before you buy a bike, and in this video, we're covering budget and buying used. In part one, we also covered wants versus needs and sizing considerations. It's a great place to start before watching this video. When you're buying a bike, you might have some ideas of what your budget should look like based on what you might have seen previously in your life. Most people might be looking to get a new bike with the prices of a used bike from 20 years ago in mind, or be looking at the bike shop through a department store lens. While there are definitely hard lines on the outer edges of budget, it's important to stay flexible within those. We're here to help you get the most out of your budget and feel confident that you're making the right decision for you.
Bike-shaped objects. In the bike industry, we often use the term bike-shaped objects to refer to some of the most inexpensive bikes on the market. This isn't meant as an insult, but as a way to describe what has happened to the entry-level price point bikes you'll often find in big box stores. A bike-shaped object often comes in only one size to save on manufacturing costs, usually not assembled by a qualified mechanic, and it has all the parts you need to make it a bike by definition, but with a singular goal in mind, and that's to be as cheap as possible. This means when things inevitably fail, which they always do, there are often no repair parts available from the original manufacturer. And when you bring it to a bike repair shop, the cost of the parts and repair would immediately eclipse the price of the total bike new. This often makes the bike shop look overwhelmingly expensive by comparison, when the reality is the low initial price point meant overall quality was the underlying issue. I've heard from many people who start on these types of bikes that they're effectively disposable if you actually ride them. Ride it for a year, scrap it when it fails, and buy a new one next year. The irony is that not only is this incredibly wasteful, you likely spend enough that you could probably have started with a half-decent bike that would be worth repairing in the first place. Buy it right, and you buy it once. If your budget is tight and this is all that you can afford, at least make sure to take it to a qualified bike shop to make sure everything is installed and adjusted correctly so it'll be as good as possible. Strong, light, cheap, pick two. This is a famous quote from mountain bike pioneer Keith Bontrager, which is a great way to contextualize cost versus weight versus strength. This is not something that I would use as a benchmark when you walk into a bike shop, but can help wrap your head around some of the huge variance in pricing you'll see. So if you wanted something to be strong and light, it's likely not going to be cheap. Think about something like carbon fiber or higher end steel and titanium bikes. If you're looking for something inexpensive and strong, this means it's likely going to be fairly heavy, which many entry-level steel bikes can fall into this category. If you're looking for light and extremely inexpensive, it's also likely not particularly strong. This is where we find many bike-shaped objects that might not be up to actual basic riding fall into. There are some exceptions to this entirely, such as many mid to higher end touring bikes. By their very nature, a touring bike should not be light as it won't be able to handle the cargo capacity well, and if it's set up for a proper expedition, it should be strong and likely won't be cheap. So although you might only be getting 1 out of 3 by following this rule of thumb, strong in this case, it doesn't mean it's not purpose-driven design and that it's exactly the right tool for that job. Far too many people have been conditioned to focus on weight when shopping for a new bike, and the first words out of their mouth is, "I want a light bike," when they step into the bike shop. This often translates into diminishing gains. You may spend hundreds, even thousands of dollars to have a marginally lighter bike by maybe just a few pounds. Keep in mind that also asking for the lightest bike is an indirect way of essentially asking for the most expensive bike in the shop. Ride quality and fit are what we normally use as benchmark to see if the bike is right. Weight would be secondary as a consideration.
Be flexible with your budget. We're always extremely enthusiastic about helping people find the perfect bike for them, and that includes staying within the hard lines of a budget. However, far too often, people will walk into a bike shop unwilling to even learn about something if it exists on the upper edges of their price range. They might have a well-researched wish list of parts or features for their dream bike, while simultaneously having a budget cap that doesn't really allow us to meet all their needs or expectations for it. Often, instead of pausing and reevaluating their budget versus their wish list, they'll simply end up leaving disappointed. Even if there are hard lines in your budget that can't be negotiated, having some flexibility when you're learning about what's available gives you a good opportunity to learn about what an expert might suggest to meet your needs, which can, if nothing else, help you learn more about new developments in bike technology and give you the chance to reassess either the wish list or perhaps your budget.
Buying a used bike. There are a lot of potential unknowns in both the history and condition of a used bike. Always budget for repairs. If you have a bike person in your friend or acquaintance group, it never hurts to reach out for some advice. Buying used from a shop means additional markup, so you're paying more this way. Depending on the shop, they might be able to help you better size a frame, and choosing the correct size is one of the biggest challenges when shopping on Craigslist or comparable online marketplace. This is why I recommend you try to find a bike buddy to help guide you through the process and make sure you make good decisions. If you budget for some repairs, maintenance, and customization, you can adapt a bike within reason to fit you better by making some adjustments or changing some parts.
The ABCDs of bike maintenance, aka things to inspect when shopping for a new, used bike. First is A for air. Check the tires. No cracking should be visible, and ideally they should be firm to the touch. Soft tires might just need air, but they could need a new tube too. Rubber wears over time and from UV exposure, so if you need a bike to be reliable, it's good to budget for new tires just in case.
B for brakes. Check that the brake levers move and return freely when pulled. Excessive drag might mean the cables and housing need to be replaced, meaning more added cost on your end. Check that the brake pads don't rub on the rotor or the wheel's rim when not pulled. Brake pads are often worn or dried out on older bikes. Just like the tires, they're good to budget for replacement.
Next up is C for chain. Look at the chain. Is it rusty? Are there stiff links? If it's just a little brown but it still moves freely, it might be salvageable. A worn chain might mean a significant amount of replacement parts are needed. And if you aren't sure, using a chain wear indicator can be a foolproof way to measure wear levels.
D for drop test. Pick up the bike from the saddle and handlebars about 2 to 3 inches off the ground and give it a little bounce. You shouldn't hear any excessive vibration or rattling, but give a check over to see if anything is loose. Check for play in bearings. The wheels, cranks, and headset should move freely, but without any additional access of movement.
If everything else looks good, look at the frame and check for rust or corrosion and any dents or holes that might affect the structural integrity of the bike. If it's possible, and if it looks safe to do so, take it on a little test ride. You want to make sure that it functions properly and fits you. When you're buying a bike, there are always ways to get you as close as you can to your dream bike without compromising your budget. Bike shops are a great place for getting guidance with that. Getting help from the friendly folks at your local bike shop can help you with honing in that list of need-to-haves and want-to-haves, as well as give you an idea of the types of bikes available on the market and how they might suit your wish list. It's also a great place to get guidance through getting the best bike for you at whatever price point you're working with, and for giving you the confidence to move through your bike purchasing journey with ease.
We hope you enjoyed learning about the things to consider before buying a bike. Let us know if you agree or disagree.
We hope everything was super useful and you learned a lot. Thanks for watching.
See you next time.